China has taken a dig at Israel amidst its ongoing war with Hamas and said that Israel's actions in Gaza have gone beyond the scope of self-defense. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said that Israeli government must cease its collective punishment of the people of Gaza. Wang's remarks come as Israel appeared poised for a ground offensive against Hamas in Gaza. China has increasingly positioned itself as a mediator in the Middle East, brokering a restoration of ties in March between Saudi Arabia and a key Hamas backer, Iran. Ambassador Suresh Goyal, a former diplomat, is joining us at this point. Ambassador Goyal, what do you make of these comments by the Chinese foreign minister on the situation in Israel?
It was sort of expected because China's position regarding Middle East is quite well known. They have always held. In fact, most of the developing countries, including India, they used to hold that they should, and even this time, the statement from the Ministry of External Affairs has clearly indicated that we support the right of the two states to exist in their own independent, well-defined borders. So China's position has been pretty well known, and it was only to be expected that China would articulate, the foreign ministry would articulate some statement, some position, which would be in accordance with their well-known position, and they're certainly not beholden in any fashion to either USA or the Western countries or to Israel in terms of their foreign policy behavior. So I'm not surprised. As far as the visit of the Chinese foreign minister to Middle East is concerned, I think it will basically remain at the level of articulating Chinese positions, trying to at least make an appearance of an effort to resolve the issue. But I do not think that China will be able to do anything at all. They don't have much of a leverage in the Middle East in terms of resolving the problem. By the time the Chinese foreign minister goes to Middle East and visits those countries, I also expect certain other developments taking place there. For example, the USA has already clearly said or advised Israel not to occupy Gaza Strip, but basically has not clearly said what should be the aim or the war objective be. If the war objective is going to remain finishing Hamas, finishing an organization, quote unquote terrorist organization, is not easy. You may finish the organization, but the people will remain just like an amoeba. They will spread to the other places, and the thing will continue. Not an organized war. It was never an organized war, but the attacks would continue. So I do not know how Israel is going to find a suitable formula to say that yes, they have won the war and the war can end. But let us see. But there will be development, and it's quite clear that after this, most of the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, have now put them in the position of supporting a Palestinian state really, and advising Israel to end the what they call siege of Gaza on humanitarian grounds. So things are taking place. Several significant developments. Let us see where they end. But Chinese attempt or Chinese articulations, I would expect, would remain really their foreign policy articulations rather than any significant way to resolve the issue. Uday.
Major General Sudhakarji, defense expert, also joins us now. Major General Sudhakarji, what do you interpret behind China's comments? What is the implication by the Chinese by making this stance public?
Sure. And must compliment the previous co-panelists for having articulated very comprehensively about the geopolitics and the inner dynamics as well. And having said that, let me begin by saying, in response to your question, that there is a huge strategic rivalry to secure the mileage of being a broker, not only in West Asia, elsewhere in the world today. There is a strategic rivalry of asserting one's supremacy in the global order from China's side. There is also, let's be mindful of the fact, Uday, that prior to 7th October, many things were happening for good. There was a thaw between the Qatar and the Saudi Arabia, the Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran and Saudi Arabia brokered by China. In this backdrop, there was also a talk in progress, backdoor diplomacy between Saudi Arabia and Israel. They're almost about 7 to 10 days short of the peace deal coming through. So, what am I trying to bring out? In order to respond to your question, I want to bring out that a stage of reconciliation had begun. Israel had already conveyed that it was as much interested to give a push to the Abraham Accord as Saudi Arabia was, and the peace deal was through, almost coming to an end. That is one part. Second part I wish to highlight is that there is a linkage. There is a linkage to highlight one aspect of, I think I used in one of your programs, Mexican standoff. You see, Mexican standoff within Mexican standoff is a phraseology which is used to indicate that each stakeholder in this entire gamut of activities is pointing with two guns at the other stakeholder. For example, let's say Iran and Israel. Iran and Israel, we all know that Iran is supporting Hamas and Hezbollah, and so as Israel is supporting Azerbaijan and Kurdish rebels. So similarly, when we talk about Iran and Saudi Arabia, it may be axiomatic to highlight that Saudi Arabia is supporting or in league with Taliban, Afghanistan to contain and contest Iran, so as the present ruling government of Pakistan. And Iran is supporting the Iraqi militias and the Houthis in Yemen. So this is what I mean to say by the expression of the Mexican standoff. So under this collage of linkages, what is happening is that all the important stakeholders, that is Israel and Palestine, or the Arabic countries, they are mindful of the fact that everyone is yearning for peace, reconciliation, peace, progress, and development. So with this backdrop, even if Hamas have committed a terrorist activity, I think when you talk about the start point of the invasion or conflict and the exit, because in any warfare, the exit plan doesn't go as per the plan. Let's say, for example, the Ukraine-Russia war, everyone thought that 7, 10 days, 15 days, things will be over. It's almost going beyond 20 months now. Same is the case, while Israel in their mind, may have decided to give back the retribution in a befitting manner. Perhaps what Ambassador Goel has brought out may be one of the aims, but that cannot become a military. Any conflict, any war taking place anywhere in the world has to have a political objective. It has to have a military mission or military objective. In the instant case, there is a conventional force which is targeting an unconventional, a hybrid force. Their identity cannot be established in open forum. It's a way of life. They get merged into the civilians. So therefore, what it brings to me is that the invasion has started, notwithstanding the weather, if we go into the reports. They are going about doing things in a very calibrated manner, mindful of the fact any excessive collateral damage is going to isolate Israel, and the same people who have gone through the journey of Holocaust will be branded as, unleashing a Holocaust against the Palestinians. They are also mindful of the fact that they have to undertake surgical strike, given the fact that they are the best in the world. I personally feel, my assessment is that it is going to be a very, very operation conducted based on specific information, operation conducted with surgical precision, and operation with an aim and objective to minimize the collateral damage. But having done that, what is going to be the exit plan? Will they call by decimating the Hamas logistic installations or the headquarters, by destroying them? Is that going to give them the final status of the end of the war? No. It is no way. So what is it that the end status which is going to Israel, a suitable avenue for exit? In my opinion, sooner or later, the end state has to reach a reconciliation between Israel and Palestine. They have to reach a status of peace between both the nations as two nations. Because this is what the demand of Saudi Arabia and Israel was. If you recall, in your channel only, I had given out this point. They had got 4 demands. Out of 4 demands, the first demand was Israel and Palestine must have identifiable, well-acknowledged, formalized 2 nations in the existing piece of land of 441 kilometers by 141 kilometers. This has to be a sovereign nation state. That also is the lasting idea and concept of Indian thought process, I would say. Number 2, this has to be accepted by the United Nations. Number 2 is that Saudi Arabia has been wanting a civil nuclear reactor under the American rulers or American supervision to be established in Saudi Arabia. Number 3, they wanted an architecture, security architecture as is being applied in the NATO. Number 4, they wanted state-of-the-art equipment from the Americans, which I think there is a tacit agreement which has taken place. So sooner or later, notwithstanding the retribution which rightfully Israel is unleashing against the Hamas, we have to come to the final state. In my opinion, the exit plan from this particular offensive should be the peace and reconciliation between these 2 warring factions and, I would say, 2 nations established and acknowledged and identified by the United Nations headquarters.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.